There, it is just a huge lake, probably bigger than some very small Jellystones. I think it's bigger than South Haven. I love you, South Haven, but this lake might be as big as your campground. It's just a huge lake, and the whole place is just so massive and spread out. We were recently hosted by Clay's Resort Jellystone Park in North Lawrence, Ohio, for a 3-night stay. Clay's has been a popular campground for 75 years, but is in just its second season as a Jellystone after it was bought by Northgate Resorts a couple of years ago. Northgate has quickly worked to build in new additions to the park. The rec center, pool, splash pad, general store, rooftop bar, beach concessions, mini golf, many of the cabins, some of the sites, laser tag, and several other things are all new since the Northgate purchase. Clay's is a massive campground. This is not an understatement. The main campground area is separated from all the water attractions and most of the dry attractions, all of which are also open to day-use guests, by primitive camping land and pavilions where Clay's hosts music festivals. The man-made swimming and boating lake at Clay's is large and impressive, and the new water zone Northgate has added adjacent to it gives guests the option of lake or chlorinated water attractions side by side. The natural fishing lake in the main campground portion of the park is even larger than a lot of small campgrounds. There's a small alcove of cabins down a short gravel road from the day-use area where we stayed, but even that is not a quick walk to those attractions. As such, your options for getting around at Clay's are really golf cart or driving your own vehicle, which is less hazardous than at other campgrounds since there is so little foot traffic on the main road connecting the campground with the day-use area. But please, still drive slowly. Prior to its purchase by Northgate, Clay's catered to an older audience than most Jellystones, adults and teens, and that's evident with the high thrill and challenging level of many of the attractions in the swimming and boating lake. The addition of things like the splash pad, which has these really neat toddler slides around the rim of it, and of course the bears themselves, shows that this park is on its way to being an all-ages park. If you have teens who feel like they are getting too old for Jellystones, take them to Clay's. There is plenty for them to enjoy, and they will definitely meet plenty of other kids their age. For adults, it's kind of hard to beat the view and reasonably priced cocktails at Clay's rooftop bar. The activity schedule at Clay's was not as full as some other Jellystones, but given the amount of things to do at the park, that's not a deal breaker. They did have multiple bear appearances. Their new rec center is a fantastic and large space that allows for organized activities to go on concurrently while older or disinterested kids are playing ping pong or Jenga or lounging in the television area. The rec center and area around it is where nearly all of their activities are held. The size of Clay's is definitely something to adjust to if you are used to smaller campgrounds, but it does help that there are essentially only 2 epicenters to the park, the rec center and surrounding area, and then the day-use area. If you were to stay within walking distance of the rec center, you could probably go without a golf cart and just drive down to the day-use area, since you're likely to spend hours there and there is more than ample parking. Clay's already had high appeal for adults and older kids, and now it's well on its way to becoming an all-ages park. I hope you enjoy our tour of Clay's Resort, Jellystone Park. So right here is the day-use entrance, which is close to the store and the water facilities. You can come and visit for the day, and this is pretty much primarily where you'd stay. And so that, in a sense, is sort of a benefit for overnight campers, because a lot of places do sell day passes. That's nothing new. But the fact that most of the camping, actually all the camping, is somewhat removed from the water area, you're not going to have a bunch of day guests sort of running around by your sites or cabins or anything. They're pretty much going to stay down here. Not that there's anything wrong with day guests, but your sort of camping area and environment is not going to seem like there's a bunch of extra people in it, because they're just going to be down here by the big water amenities. Okay, gonna do a little bit of lay of the land here. You see the lake in front of us and the store with bar and concessions to the left, and we'll explore that at some point as well. We're gonna swing around. There's the pool, splash pad, and spray ground. I know the pool and splash pad are brand new this year. The spray ground was pre-existing. Those are offices off to the end of the parking lot, and you can see this is a giant parking lot. So Obviously, for day use people, this is the parking lot where they would park. But also, if you don't have a cart and you do have to drive your car around the campground, which of course I asked, please drive very slowly, since there are kids about and golf cart traffic. Posted speed limit is 5. I know it's very hard for people to maintain a 5 mile per hour speed in a car, but just try to be mindful and take it slow. But you can drive down here from your site if you don't have a cart. There's plenty of parking down here to come down here to the water area. So this is along the beach, and this is even larger than it looks from further away. There's not a lot of sand here up close, but it stretches out and around, and you can see, again, it's wet, it's rained. Supposed to have a nice day tomorrow. We'll see how today is. But you see the space along there. You can see if I zoom in a little bit, there's actually a volleyball court and a basketball hoop in the water. And it's like a full-size basketball hoop, interestingly enough. Good luck with that one, making those shots. But that's further down. There's actually some boats you can take out. And again, as a camper, all of this is included. You can go ahead and take one of those boats out, kayaks and things, and you can see some of the buoys dividing the swimming area from the boating area. This is, believe it or not, man-made. It is huge. This is a man-made lake, and you can see also we've got the Whibbit type. I think they're actually, I'm going to say, well, there's a Whibbit, but there might be 2 different brands of inflatables in here actually. But there's those in there. There's really neat water slides. Those are actually canvas based, and there's maybe a 10-foot, I don't know about 10. Yeah, it might be a 10-foot drop when you come off them and you go right in the lake. So that's for adventurous folks who want to land in the lake. They do look like a lot of fun. And of course, we'll probably get some images of this in action. That looks like a ropes course next to that Whibbit in the middle that you can, oh yeah, there's things to walk along inside the bottom while you're hanging up. And right behind here on the lake, I do want to point out this group of picnic tables, again with those crank umbrellas, which are really nice for sun or a little bit of light rain. This is something we'll also shoot more footage of later, but right at the beach area is the typical concession stand. Here is the concession stand in action, open. A little peek at the menu. They got chicken sandwiches, cheeseburgers. Usually have chicken tenders, but they're out of those right now. Corn dog, grilled cheese, soft pretzels, nachos, mozzarella sticks, fries, pizza, stuff like that. And then around the corner back there, they've got some ice cream and ices as well as a separate counter. So you see here, there are rings you can attempt to get as far as possible. American Ninja Warrior type thing, as far as possible out over to the lake. They are pretty far apart, so this is for older kids and adults to really have any chance at that one. But then also underneath there is a diving board. So obviously the depth there, the depth there is 12 feet. I can actually see it marked. So this is, yeah, if you come off that, you get the bottom of that canvas slide coming down. When you drop out of that, that's a deep water. So I think they probably require life jackets required in this area. They require life jackets for all the attractions over here. But yeah, just so you know, obviously you have a life jacket, so you should be fine, but it is deep water over here by the, oh, see that's an aqua glide. So they've mix and match here with the obstacles. Some are Whibbit and some are a different brand. So but yeah, there's lots of inflatable obstacles, some physically challenging things here. Again, this is not really, most of this stuff over here is something that the little kids are going to be doing. This is primarily for the adults and teens, and Clay's did cater to a little bit of an older audience before the Jellystone transition. It probably will still, because of stuff like this, skew a little bit older than some Jellystones, although the addition of the splash pad and things, which we'll also go check out, those will obviously give the younger kids and less adventurous folks something to do. But these are high thrill attractions, at least in my opinion, which is good for some teens and things who are looking for more adventure than some Jellystones have to offer. Okay, so we're out here in the morning, and the water zone doesn't open until noon, but you can get a look at it here. This splash pad feature is new this year. You see the yellow and red slides, similar to, I think the slide's probably at Quarryville. They do have cabanas in there. You can see that. Looks like a lot of seating, quite a few umbrella tables. We'll walk around the other side. A really neat photo op here. The giant oversized chair with "Wish You Were Here" on it, so you can get up and sit in that and Here's another look at the splash pad from this side. You can see a few more water features, and again, we'll get in there and make sure that we take some footage or photos in action and maybe slide them in or add them in. And I do like this. Not only do they have a pool closed or open sign, they have the hours of operation clearly posted, so you know what time they're open and what time they close. You don't have to go ask anybody. You'll see it when you get here. Of course, it's good to know in advance, and they do have that on the website. All the Northgate parks have a guest dashboard on their website. One of the things on there, hours of operation, you're going to want to check that because sometimes they vary depending on the day of the week, and they always do vary depending on the time of the year. Peak season hours are going to be different than other parts of the year, for example. This I am very excited about for Emily. We're coming up here on the spray playground. Now, here's the little spray playground turned on. So I want to add too, if you come by the spray playground and you think it's closed, just come and try to mess with stuff because nothing was on. And Emily went and put her hands over something, and one by one everything turned on. So it might be motion censored to turn all the water on, which kind of makes sense because if nobody's here, why let this run all day? But that's really cool that it does that. But if you don't know that, you're just going to think it's not on. So it's a good thing that we tried. Here's a shot of the pool, which again, just like the water zone is open 12 to 7. Got some basketball hoops in the middle, more cabanas. There are a lot of cabanas here. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Quick count by the pool. There's a few more ringing the opposite side of the splash pad, and then there's some right there on this side of the splash pad. So there's a lot of cabana rentals, a lot of deck space, a lot of chairs. Again, this is going to be tough for us to judge because we're here midweek. The weather is only so-so, but this is definitely built to handle a lot of people, not just because of the number of chairs, but the amount of deck space, so you don't feel like you're constantly running into other people. And finally, in the water zone, this is something I was not aware of. There is a hot tub, and it is large. It's like almost a bean, kind of kidney bean shaped hot tub. Oh, and I do want to point out both the hot tub and the pool do have chair lifts, so you have someone with mobility issues, these are accessible to them as well. That's just a very large area. Another thing I want to point out, there are speakers strung up all along these trees. I assume they also use these then for things like telling people when the pool's about to close, or if there's a lightning issue and they have to close down the pool. So that's very handy. You're not just relying on people running around and shouting at people. And by the way, the speakers do point both ways. They're also pointed towards the lake, so they can use the announcements for the stuff out there. So we've mentioned a few times how interesting it is that most of the amenities here are removed from the camping area, and it's not really just the water amenities. They've also got a few things down here that are on land. They've got this, the gem mining, of course, is right here, and you can see if we turn behind us, there's the swimming lake right behind us, but there's the gem mining sluice. They've got a Gaga pit here. My understanding is most or all of these are new. I think they were new last season. Here's the Gaga pit. Oh, that is nice. Okay. This is the Gaga pit with, it looks like rubberized tile flooring, which is really nice. It's not dirt, it's not concrete, so it's got a little bit of give. It's not any sort of astroturf that might cause some knee burns or something. It's got some give on it. It's not full of dirt or sand. That is a really nice Gaga pit, actually. And they've got the Gaga rules posted, which is cool because not everybody knows how to play. You know, I'm going to get real close for that. You can pause the video there and probably read them. We've got a mini golf course here, which looks pristine. Doesn't look too, I mean, this is pretty straightforward mini golf. It's kind of like adult mini golf. I don't see a bunch of, you know, characters or windmills or anything, but there are some challenging holes. And then they do have there's a smaller Yogi statue over by the store. And I think also when you pull in maybe to the camper entrance, but there's a very large Yogi statue here at the day use. And again, this is only the second season of this being a Jellystone. So the statues are all brand new looking and just really nice. Not just obviously well maintained because they're new, but they look a little more updated right now. We're just across the way from the mini golf for a few more land attractions here by their main water areas. There are 3 pairs of concrete cornhole boards here. And then we turn around and look at these sports courts. So we've got 4 sand volleyball courts next to each other. You could have a tournament. I mean, maybe they do run tournaments here. I don't know. And then a basketball court here. I'm pretty sure there may be another volleyball court elsewhere. I know there's another basketball court elsewhere, which we'll also make sure we get to. Some Clay's Park branding on this. Now, again, Clay's Park's been around for 75 years. Well, now it's Clay's Resort Jellystone Park, but it was Clay's Park Resort prior to Northgate purchasing it and entering the Jellystone system. So you still see some of that signage and branding. Now, there are 2 jumping pillows side by side here. Now, unlike the Gaga Pit, this is sand-based. And you can see it's rained a lot, so it is wet, kind of muddy sand, and there is a huge puddle by one of them. But they have inflated them. The pillows themselves are, they've dried out. The nice thing about pillows over pads is obviously since they're curved, the water will run off them pretty quick. And there are a couple people jumping out on the far one right now, where there isn't a puddle next to it. They do have the cubbies for the shoes. They have got one inside, one on the outside. They've got rules posted, which is nice. And then right outside, for those not jumping parents or siblings or other adults or anything, they have these picnic tables with the umbrellas, similar to the one that we have by our cabin. It is a crank umbrella. It's nice. You don't have to worry about a pin or anything. You just untie it and crank it up. So this is just a good shot here, down from we're next to the Wibbits and things, of the building, which I believe opened last year. Many of the buildings here Northgate has built since the purchase, and they've been building it up quick. I expect more things to come to Clay's in the near future. But this building is beautiful. You can tell the architecture here, but that top part on the front is the general store, which the facade, and we've seen it elsewhere in the video and in photos, does not really look like the back. It looks more general store-y, right? It's a little bit, not rustic, but more that you would expect the general store to look like. The back here looks very modern. And that top section is actually a rooftop bar. It overlooks the beach area, so you can see everybody playing on the beach and stuff while you're sitting out on that patio. There's a lot of seating up there. And then the bottom here, obviously we showed you before, is the concession. So this building's serving 3 purposes. And here is the general store, the camp store at Clay's, the outside. Yogi there. The rooftop bar is actually around the corner. Big ice machine. There's the firewood. We'll walk inside and see what they have. Literally the first time that we're walking in. There's your gem mining bags. Oh, I like that Jellystone. Full zip over here. That's one I haven't seen. That's the corporate logo, but against like a red, white, and blue tie-dye. Well, this is nice along the back wall. Pretty large breakfast and coffee self-serve station. Nice. That is a Keurig, but it's huge. It's Keurig branded coffee. And they got that's really neat. They've got the grab-and-go breakfast pastries and things right lined up with the coffee. Ponchos, fishing equipment, more stuff like that. Snacks on this side. And some more swim gear. A lot in the supply and grocery here versus merchandise in terms of the branded merchandise. But there's still some along the back wall. We'll show you a pretty well-stocked freezer. Frozen breakfast sandwiches if you didn't bring anything that you wanted for breakfast. Some hot dogs, sandwiches, things like that in there. And we got some more shirts here. We got the Jellystone Park Patriotic July 4th right around the corner. Can't more, worry less. This is like a little quick dry. It's a good, like a fishing shirt. Jellystone. I haven't seen that one with the Clay specific branding as well. There's a couple more down here. We've seen this King of the Grill one before. I actually got that for Father's Day. There's a nice sweatshirt. Wow, look at this one. That one's pretty cool. This one up here. There's another Can't More Worry Less. I like those. Adventure is Calling. And rainbow tie-dye. This is a very well-stocked drink cooler with energy drinks, vitamin waters, ginger ale, juices, iced teas of all sorts. I mean, this is a full-on... This really reminds me more of like a large convenience store with a little bit of Yogi merchandise than a typical camp store. And then some cold snacks here on the end. We do have some merchandise behind me. They got the sleeping bags, dog dishes, these tote bags here, which work well with the beach area. Here's that lunchbox again that we've seen elsewhere. Large selection of candy and snacks in the front. Of course, the pucker powder. Oh, more cooler stuff. This is all ice cream in here. Ice cream novelties. Wow. They've got some full packages of them. And there's a beer cave. Wow. So there is a full selection of beers and canned cocktails right off. Again, this seems more like a large convenience store with a smattering of Jellystone Park merchandise than what the typical Jellystone camp store looks like. So there it is. That's your store tour. You guys, it's a family bathroom right outside the general store. I have to change Emily, and I'm stoked to find, they told me there was a men's and a women's and a family. It is indeed a family, because look, changing table. Very happy. Just around the side of the rooftop bar deck, they've got cornhole boards out here. Here's that rooftop bar with the cocktail menu, beer and wine as well. A great view of the lake behind us. So just to give you an idea of where the Whippoorwills are, and they are the closest places to stay to the water zone. You see the parking lot and everything back over my shoulder. And we are going down this path. If I zoom in, you can see, well, you can't see much yet. Right there. You see that gray? That's the furthest whippoorwill, or the closest, I mean, to the parking lot. I'm going to zoom all the way out, and that's where I am. So even this is a bit of a walk. You could do it. You could walk from the Whippoorwills to the water zone, but that's the closest place to stay near these. The rest of the campground, there's some in-between space, and then we'll also have footage of the campground proper, of all the cabins and sites that are up at the top of the campground. Now there is one thing pretty close to where we're staying, which is the laser tag arena. And they do that both during the day and in the evening. They do a lights out laser tag after dark. I think at like 10:30 or all the way till 10:30, something like that. So I'm not going to walk back in there right now, but this looks like a decent course. Goes back in the woods a little bit with some obstacles, barrels, and things. Nothing huge, but kind of a neat setting, especially if you did it at night. Looks like they got some speakers up in the trees, so there's some lights and speakers. So the nighttime laser tag here is probably pretty fun. There's a nice playground here, right tucked back in our little Whippoorwill cabin section. Looks pretty new. It's the sort of modern style playground. And we've got one structure on the left that's designed more for younger kids, and then one on the right for a little bit older. No swings or anything like that. It's just the play structures. But here's the rec center at Clay's. It is massive. And they've got like the front craft table, and we're here for Candy Bar Bingo. They've got the machine out here, but it is huge space. A separate space for painting on the opposite side, and they've got ping pong tables and things set up, a lounge area with a TV. So lots to do in here. Just another look at more things to do here in the back of the rec center. Giant Connect 4, puzzles, ping pong. I think that's carpet ball. There's the lounge area where Ab is with the TV and beanbag chairs. Yeah, it's just always happening here. And there's people playing Uno. You could just come in here and do whatever. It's just pretty neat. It's a little bit different than your typical rec building because it's so large and has so many things built into it. Oh, I came in this bathroom in the rec center because I thought it was just a bathroom. I had to go to the bathroom. Okay, that makes sense. But it's a full-fledged comfort station. With 2 shower stalls and a little bench outside. So not much in the way of shower facilities in here, but there is a shower right off the rec center, or right in the rec center, really. And connected to the rec center is the arcade. All large games, it looks like, all sit-down games. Not too many of them in here, but a few games to play here in the arcade at Clay's. Now, there is indeed another sand volleyball court back here across from the rec center in the main part of the campground. You get an idea of the enormity of the fishing lake here at Clay's, because it goes that way down a ways too, in addition to over there. It is just a huge lake, probably bigger than some very small Jellystones. I think it's bigger than South Haven. I love you, South Haven, but this lake might be as big as your campground. It's just a huge lake, and the whole place is just so massive and spread out. I'll just spin around here and show you. It's pretty wild. So really, the rec center area, rec center arcade restaurant area is kind of the second epicenter of this park, besides the day use area. There's a tennis and pickleball court right outside of it, right there. And again, this is in the campground proper. We'll walk around to the side here. Unfortunately, this is not open while we were here. They open Thursday for dinner, and they're open like Thursday through Sunday, I think. But it's an actual sit-down restaurant called John O's, and it says they check IDs. They also do serve alcohol. But they're a sit-down restaurant here. It's open a few days a week. Might be able to look inside. Can't see much through the window there, but looks like a nice little restaurant. And also attached to the rec center building is the laundry room, the sud station here. But pretty convenient for the upper part of the campground. Decent amount of space. They've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 of each. Washers and dryers. They look like they are all working. There's your wash price and your dry price. It is coin op. And there is a comfort station located right underneath the rec center. We will check and see if anyone's using it. I hate filming comfort stations or bathrooms if people are in them, and it is sort of middle part of the day. We might have to come back tomorrow morning, but we'll go check it out. We're here inside the men's comfort station below the rec center. See, sinks, urinals, lots of bathroom stalls. There is a changing table, always great to see in a men's room. And then shower stalls here with a place to change, and then the shower itself. So, one of the really cool things I think about Clay's, besides all the obvious big stuff, is this basketball court. It is a full court basketball court close to the rec center. That is, you can see right there, under partial cover. It is not really indoors, but there's almost like an elevated pavilion over it. So unless it's raining really hard coming in from the sides, you could come out here and play in the rain. There's also lights inside of this court, so you can also play past dark. Now there's also a pavilion right next to this basketball court, and it's labeled an Arts and Crafts Pavilion. I don't know if they have any other craft activities out here, perhaps like tie-dye or something. There's plenty of room in the rec center, but they do have this pavilion here as well. And then right beyond the basketball court, you can see a small play structure, swings, and a couple things to climb on. Here is the Bark Park, dog park at Clay's. There's actually 2 dog runs right next to each other. We haven't walked down there. My assumption is there's one for one size dog and one for the other, but they are nice sized bark parks. Yeah, so lots of room for your dogs to run around, fenced in, double entry gate to get in there.